This one narcotics officer from Westchester County, just retired, dedicated his whole career to protecting the citizens of Westchester County, and they can't protect him now. He said, "I've never been so fearful of the safety of my family." This one lady who's been stalked for years in Westchester County, she finally found peace 2 years without the stalker contacting her. 2 days after that paper released her information, she gets hang-ups all night long. She lives in fear, her and her 3 daughters.
Joining me with reaction, author of the New York Times bestseller Mugged, and Coulter. I have a few points on this. Number one, police officers who arrested criminals, their names are in the paper. Then they know the people who have guns if they want to steal them, people who don't have guns where they can go rape, rob, and steal. This is really dangerous.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's a wake-up call for New York State. This is to make these public records has got to be changed. Many states already do that. You get a gun permit. That is not a public record for exactly the reason you say. Criminals know whose house they can home invade when people are there. This is why home invasions are 10 times higher in Britain than they are in this country, because there's no private gun ownership. And as a consequence, you're much better off as a burglar burglarizing a home when the people are there. Their wallets are out. Their keys are out. You can find out where the safe is. And as you say, they also know, people who live in Westchester County who work in Manhattan, for example, when they are not there, when they're commuting to New York, they can't bring their guns. That's when you break in and steal the gun. And that's a curious thing. I mean, why, as that man just said, why aren't we getting the names of recently paroled criminals? People with gun permits, by definition, do not have criminal records. Why can't we get the criminal records? No, we can't get that. Why can't we get a record of women who have had abortions? They get money from Planned Parenthood. They get money from Medicare, from Medicaid. Much of this is their tax subsidies. I think, mothers might want to know what other women on their street might be willing to murder a child. How about the list of rent-controlled apartments in New York? And by the way, if we're producing lists even of gun permit owners, I want them for Manhattan. I want to know how many rich liberals with their bodyguards have gun permits. The News Journal, or Journal News, by the way, as I'm sure your viewers know, they hired a couple of armed guards because they got, some mean emails. Armed guards. Can we get the armed guards' names and addresses?
Good to see you. There you go.
We're in the middle of a flu epidemic.
Yeah.
No handshaking.
This to me, so let me see. Jihad is legitimate. Then we've got a guy that can't even say the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is a terror group.
Right.
Or Hezbollah. I mean, I just read it, so what's your reaction?
Right. Well, this is an old liberal trick. It's like the scorched earth policy to argumentation. They retreat an argument, burning the English language as they go. So we can't call them jihadists. We can't call it a war on terrorism. We can't call it. Just tell us what to call it, and we'll have the debate. But of course, as I'm sure you guessed, my principal objection to this list of nominees is that they are all white men, Sean Hannity. And the lack of diversity just shocks me.
What happened to the lack of
Shocks
What
me.
happened here? This is an outrage. As a matter of fact, maybe he needs a book of binders.
You could borrow Mitt Romney's.
You could borrow Mitt Romney's book of binders.
Well, as you know, I just got back from England, which they have not bought into this whole diversity enthusiasm, which raises the important point that on the gun crimes, we keep hearing how low they are in Europe, and they're so low when they have no guns. If you compare white populations, we have the same murder rate as Belgium. So perhaps it's not a gun problem. It is a demographic problem, which liberals are the ones are pushing. Let's get more Colin Fergusons and more whoever the guy was who shot up Fort Hood. Why are they coming in to begin with?
Hassan is Fort Hood.
Hassan.
All right. So you hear that they may come out. This was on Drudges. I'm coming down here tonight, and I couldn't believe it. Just breaking a short time ago. 19 Obama executive orders. What happens if he tries to bypass Congress on the Second Amendment and bypass Congress on Article 1, Section 7 and use the 14th Amendment? What happens?
On guns?
On guns and on the debt ceiling. If he shreds the Constitution, you want me to say it that way? If the imperial president shreds the Constitution?
I suspect if he tried to do it on guns, even he wouldn't do that. I mean, luckily, we've recently had the Supreme Court ruling.
Biden said it may be as many as 19 executive orders.
Yeah, I think
tomorrow.
that for guns, they'd probably try to do it on ammunition and
clips.
I think we should, respond with the next Republican president having executive orders. We won't ban abortion. We will just ban abortionists and abortion clinics. How would that be? I mean, they're not serious about doing anything about shootings in America. Dianne Feinstein has a concealed carry permit for good reasons.
Did you see what I played the clip of her?
We did it on radio today, and I support her on that. She was in danger. So are other Americans, including women like herself. The fastest growing group of gun owners are single women. What are women supposed to do who are in danger? And this business that New York is pushing through about banning the extra capacity magazines.
7 bullets.
Okay,
7.
Like all liberal solutions, this has nothing to do with the problem we're supposed to be addressing. If you are going into a gun-free zone, as all of these mass shooters do, all but one since 1950 have shot up gun-free zones, you have time to drop the magazine and insert another one. You have time and preparation to have more than one gun. It's only if you are the victim of a home invasion, as that woman in Georgia was last week. She and her children she sees a man outside the window. Her husband's away. She runs to the top floor. She hides in a closet. The intruder opens the door, and God bless her, she shot.
She hid in the crawl space, and this guy found her.
She shot with 6 bullets in her gun. She shot all 6. Only 5 hit the intruder, which is very good when you are a panicked woman protecting your children, and probably not constantly down at the gun range. She hit him in the face and neck 5 times, and yet he not only lived, he lived to flee in a car. What if there had been 2 intruders? What if she had not been as good a shot and only 3 of the bullets had hit her or hit the intruder? It's when you have a home invasion that you need a large capacity magazine, especially if you are a female who isn't constantly at the gun range.
Very well said. I think that is probably the strongest argument, Ms. Coulter, that I have heard about the clip argument and the bullet argument in New York. I don't know what you do in New York.
Do you remember?
Are you going to arrest people that use 8 bullets in a home invasion?
Well, they're not arresting David Gregory. No, like all other Obama rules, all the gun rules do not apply to Dianne Feinstein or David Gregory. I would also remind you that when Colin Ferguson shot up the LIIR, no one had a gun. He stopped and reloaded. It doesn't stop a multiple victim public shooter. You can bring lots of guns. And, oh, by the way, they're lawbreakers. They might have an extra capacity magazine on them. It's the person who is defending her home who needs the extra capacity magazine.
I got to run. Good to see you. Thank you.